planned implementation of the 5% surcharge on refined petroleum products, including petrol and diesel, starting on the 1st of January 2026, is being opposed by stakeholders in the extractive sector and civil society organizations. This came as Petroleum Petrol Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria said this law, if empowered, could in every way cause its marketers and members to close business. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had on June the 26th of 2023 signed the Nigerian Tax Administrative Act, which include the 5% surcharge on refined petroleum products to take effect from January 1st, 2026. The federal government said the Nigerian Tax Administration Act aims to boost non-oil revenue and promote fiscal sustainability. But the surcharge comes at a particular sensitive time for Nigerians. The removal of decades-old fuel subsidy in 2023 tripled petroleum prices overnight, causing inflation and eroding household income. Since then, transportation fares and the cost of goods have soared, with many Nigerians now scared that once implemented, the new tax will further increase living cost. Consumer groups also worry that the surcharge could worsen inflationary pressures, particularly since diesel is widely used in Nigeria for powering businesses and transporting goods. But the big question now on the lips of many is, will this federal government, or rather, if the federal government go ahead to implement its plan in 2026, will it not also bring about a really deep social unrest, or will the growing core make the government jettison this very plan? Well, a look at how it concerns Nigeria and also the issue of the 5% surcharge on petroleum product is what this edition of Dialogue is now centered on. And we're looking at the 5% surcharge on fuel. And that's what we're having as a critical one today on this Monday edition of Dialogue right here on Atlantic TV. We're looking at that seems to have really hit up the polity, especially as it concerns many Nigerians, and especially when we heard, or rather Nigerians heard the news just last week. But anyway, we're not there at last week. We're right here in Atlantic TV, and in this week, trying to look at the issue. And to help us look at the issue right here, we have no other person but Comrade. He said I should always put Comrade. He prefers it. We're talking of Comrade Emeka Owococha. You're of the Civil Society Group for Good Governance and Democracy right here in Delta State. Good morning, Comrade Emeka Owococha, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Mike. Thank you for having me.
And we'll also later be joined by no other person but Mr. Ben K. Adams. He's an economist with Nixon Bank, and he'll be joining us all the way live from Abuja to also give us his view as it concerns it. But when we finally connect with him, we'll be bringing him on board. But anyway, let's quickly go into our discourse this morning. Now, as much as I would love to get your reaction as it concerns this new surcharge, I rather want us to start our bone of discussion in actually looking at what this surcharge means. And not just only what it means, but why are Nigerians really agitating about it? Especially knowing your civil society organization, just like I said in my introduction, is joining hands with other civil society organizations to come out to say they are not in any way in support of this new surcharge. So let's understand what this surcharge means for Nigeria and why there's this growing agitation, especially from civil society organizations like yours.
Yes, Mr. Mike, you will recall that when your president, was doing a throwback.
Our president, rather.
Yeah, your president was doing a throwback. He did mention that he understands the pains Nigerians are going through following the removal of fuel subsidy.
Yes.
I want to quote him, that he understands the pains. So it is not that he didn't know the impact, the negative impact the removal of fuel subsidy has brought upon the Nigerians.
Yes.
And Mike, let me take your mic back.
Okay.
Petrol was 187 naira per liter.
Yes.
When he came on May 29th, 2023 and jacked up the price to about 950 naira a liter. That amount to 382% increase, Mike Ray.
Yes.
On that platform, that alone defies every economic reasoning. Now you have seen, that means that, the purchasing power of Nigerians, lose value to the tune of 382%.
Okay.
And you have seen how the price of commodities has reached the roof. Nigerians can no longer, buy food to eat because cost of transportation, is abnormal. It's not something one would want to wish even your enemy. When Nigerians are still struggling under this pang of poverty, pang of abandonment by the government, your president is coming again, not even bringing a palliative, to now say he wants to charge every liter of fuel again at the rate of 5% by taking effect in January 2026. Do you know what that means? That is assuming we are going by MBS statistics that 133 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor. That means we are going to have more Nigerians that will throw into the poverty bank. And that tells you now that Nigerians many are going to die of poverty, many are going to die of hunger, malnutrition.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, it is a poorly thought out idea. And that idea, what that means that it presents the mind behind the policy as being insensitive to the plight of Nigeria, bitter plight of Nigeria. And he is so punitive. He is so punitive, and he holds so strongly to punitive policies that we annihilate the people. That will subject the people to perpetual penury and enslave the people and leave them at the lodge. So these are the adjectives I will use to qualify your president. That was why I referred him to your president, because for me, the man President Bola Tinubu had disappointed the 220 million Nigerians because we thought that he was coming to bring succor. Remember that he is telling you that he is coming with a renewed what? Yes, he patterned his administration to a renewed hope in anger, a renewed hope in hunger, a renewed hope in deprivation, a renewed hope in pauperizing Nigerians who have done him no evil, no ill.
Comrade Emeka Owococha, we plead with you to calm down. He's still our president and the president of.
He remains the president.
Okay, well now
he must fit it.
Let's look at the reasons for this very increase. Let's look at government reason for this increase. I'll plead with you to hold on. Now, we on Dialogue, on Viewpoint, on Atlantic TV, were fortunate enough in doing our job in getting the comments of no other person but Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. You do know he's the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform. Now, according to what he told us, let me just state it. He said the fuel levy forms a part of a broader tax reform, and also it's helping to simplify Nigerians' complex tax system. That's what he said. And also boosting government revenue as to indeed develop some major critical sector. And the sector he talked about is road infrastructure and also maintenance. Now, also according to our findings, we know that we are already at a deficit of 16 trillion naira as it concerns the current road infrastructural development in the country. And we need a whooping 120 billion United States dollars if we are to indeed complete the entire federal road network that this administration intends to do. So my question now is this not valid enough for this 5% increase in tax, knowing that it will be going for critical infrastructure, especially that of the road maintenance? Is it not a valid?
If I get it rightly, I hope the man you just mentioned his name, Taiwo, is getting his acts right. Let me tell you, you will still recall that your government is saying that that's 5%, will help to fund the renewable energy project.
A part of it.
To accelerate the government shift from fossil fuel to cleaner energy.
A part of it.
Good. Now, let me bring it back on board. Sir, your constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, which your president swore to on 29th May, that he would, gorgeously, he would hold it and uphold it. The sacrosanctity of that constitution.
Yeah.
Chapter 14, section 14, under chapter 2, tells that the primary purpose of government is what? The security and the welfare of the people, which your president knows better than I do.
Yes.
Now, it's all about priority. What that tells you is that the people's well-being is paramount.
Okay.
The people's well-being is the essence of governance. Now, you are talking about road infrastructure. Road infrastructure, when UNICEF has told you that 2 million Nigerians are suffering from severe acute malnutrition.
Okay.
And not about a percentage of them, could get cured. It has come to tell you that among that 2 million who are already going through severe acute malnutrition are at the risk of death. UNICEF has come to tell you, engage you, that something must be done to save 2 million Nigerians from dying of malnutrition.
But if there's adequate road infrastructure, would business not strive? Would the economy not be boosted? Will Nigerians not have a living?
Mike Ray, what I'm talking about, your government should not be speaking to Nigerians as if we are dons. Your government should not be speaking to Nigerians as if we are in the kindergarten style. Mike Ray, what road infrastructure? Are you building road in the moon? Road infrastructure, paving of land, the road, and putting laterite and putting granite? Is that all you're talking about? What you are saying is this, Mike Ray. Over the years, what has always, been at the forefront of the government, right from, let me say, 1999, has always been government is constructing road, government is building road. There's no government that will come on board. They're not talking about we are building road, we are building road, we are building road. Mike Ray, let me tell you, is it not time to shift the narrative, to face the critical issues that concern humanity, that concern the people? Okay. You are building road, and I have told you here that which one now, Mike Ray, if you put it on the scale of preference, which one should you go for? 2 million Nigerians are suffering from severe acute malnutrition, and they are at the risk of death because they don't have food in their belly. You are telling me you are building roads, Mr. Mike. What are you talking about? See, the government is indicting itself. The government is showcasing and advertising incompetence, ineptitude. And Nigerians, are clapping. Though the Nigerians who are not properly informed, who do not have the data on the tips of their hands, are clapping. But let me tell you, Mr. Mike, I am here, to disabuse the mind of Nigerians who do not understand what government is all about. The government is all about service delivery, about the people. The people are paramount. He should not come to tell him, I want to challenge the president. If he tells me he does not have food to eat in the morning, like the ordinary Nigerians in the street, I will say, okay. But this is the man who has all the best to eat. And when he comes, he does not consider the interest of Nigeria, both Nigerians in Okitipupa, both Nigerians in Jalingo. He does not consider the interest of building infrastructure where people are dying of hunger.
Comrade Emeka and Owococha, I will still plead with you to calm down. Now, this will not be the first time Nigerians will be having this tax reform bill. If you take your mind way back to 2007, this bill has always been in existence. We could still also remember in 2016, the National Assembly as of that time told the central bank to release almost 682 billion naira that was accruable to FEMA on account of this same tax. So it is not a new tax bill that has just been made by this administration. It has always been in existence since 2007. So it is good we set the record straight. But my next question now, because you seem to really be aggrieved with this bill, and I understand your civil society organization, just like others, are already kicking against it. But my next question, now, apart from this strong reaction you are giving on this issue, another major strong reaction concerning this very issue came from no other person but Peter Obi, the former Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 general election. And I was able to understand when I looked at his X handle that he said the timing is wrong. He's not kicking against the bill itself, but he feels the timing is wrong. So my next question, do you feel the timing is the issue of the bill itself? Let's understand where this anger is. Because this bill has always been in the law. 2007 is when this act was reestablished, undermining this administration when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed it on June 26, trying to see if he can kickstart that very tax bill. But my question, do you feel just like Peter Obi, the timing is wrong, or would you just throw away the baby and the bathwater? What's your view on this?
The baby is a living being and it has right to live.
Okay.
So you can't throw away the baby and the bathwater.
So let's understand
in the context of this.
Yes.
Right. Everything about this is bad.
So not the timing.
In the context, not the timing.
Peter Obi feels it's a good law, but the timing is bad.
It ought not to be mentioned. It ought not to be conceived. It ought not to be planned. It ought not to be, about to be implemented. Everything about it is wrong. That he should do what? Stay execution. You should go backward to the drawing board. My grade, did I tell you here?
Yeah.
That NBS says 133 million Nigerians are but the multidimensional in 2022 before he came with his punity policies.
Okay.
Policies that has put Nigeria in this state we find us. That means going by the current standard of living, I will tell you about 160 million Nigerians are multidimensional. Not only that, did I tell you that the World Bank came up with the statistics that 3.6% of Nigeria by 2027 will become poor. Will be added to the already existing number of poverty Nigerians by 2027. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you that UNICEF has come to tell you that 2 million Nigerian children below the age of 5 are suffering from severe acute malnutrition? My dear, did I tell you that? My dear, did I tell you that about 2 million Nigerian children are suffering from stunted growth? My dear, did I tell you that?
Well, the
my dear, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
This is having a country run by human beings. This is having a country not run by devils. If truly our leaders are sensitive, if truly our leaders have empathy, if truly our leaders feel the pulse of the citizens and feel the pulse of the citizens, now, my crew, are the citizens not crying? Are the citizens not lamenting? Is it not incumbent on the government to listen to the plight of the citizens? Now, my crew, what is it? What is difficult in it for government to come out with policies that will ameliorate the pains and the suffering of the people? Are you telling me now, Mike, that you don't know that the cost of commodities has, I won't even say triple?
Should we do this now,
Yes.
Comr Emeka Owococha? Because let's really break it down for our viewers.
Yes.
Let them understand how this will really impact on us. Because just like what you said, yes, we do know when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into office, the pump price of petrol was 197.
197.
As of today, it has cut across the country. It's about 950, which is about 382.
382% increase,
Now,
which has defied every economic reasoning, Mr. Mike.
Now, please, I'll plead with you to hold on. Now, if we take our minds also to section 162 of the tax administrative law, this does not imply to kerosene. This is not with CNG. This is not with LPG. It is just only petrol and diesel.
Good.
So I want you to really help Nigerians understand, because you're just giving us statistics of how poor we are. So how would this in every way? Because with what we know, if you buy a petrol of 10,000 naira, a 500 naira surcharge will be put on this.
Yes.
So Nigerians are trying to understand, because that's where the government seems not to get to the edge of your civil society and others' argument on quarrel on this. Now, tell me, how would that translate or impact negatively on Nigeria? 5%, 500 naira out of 10,000 naira.
Yes.
How is this going to add more? Let's get the immediate impact.
It might sound little. It might sound insignificant. It might sound that.
Okay.
But let me tell you, the ordinary man, the layman in the street, who is a keke driver, who is the kabu driver, once he hears, and he goes to, I know he's feeling the pains of the increment. Because like I tell you, if our governments are humans, let me tell you, yes, increment in commodities is justified.
Okay.
But Mike, how would you increase commodity? Already, people are buying a commodity 197. You increase it, Mike, to 382%, Mike. I just want to.
Under 2 years.
Immediately you remove the first subsidy. Mike, I want to ask you, if I was living on 100,000 naira, that means I need about 400,000 naira to meet up with my daily needs. And the people's daily earnings, monthly earnings remains static.
Yes.
How can they meet up that kind of exclusion policy and economy? Now, you know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
The cost of transportation will jack up again.
Okay.
It will jack up again. That means the direct impact will not be on the cost of commodities, because the only means through which we transport our goods and services is through petrol or diesel.
Okay.
So do you see why anything that touches petrol has touched the smallest man in Zengeru? Okay. Because that is the only way. Our transport system is not so developed that the government, invest in it, whereby even when the prices are cost, the citizens can leverage on government subsidies, either in transportation, to be able to tally along. But this thing is just left to the private sector and the people. So anything you do is just throwing it directly on the people. Okay. So the people are going to feel the pain. Immediately they started, you're surprised that the price of transportation will jack up, price of goods will jack up across board. And when that happens, that means it further what? Impinges or decreases the purchasing power of the ordinary Nigerian. So that means that the hardship will not be increased, the poverty will not be increased, the hunger will not be increased, the malnutrition will not be increased the more. What are not saying that if our governments have listening ears, just as the constitution tells you that that Nigeria shall be a state, based on the principle of democracy and what? Social justice. Social justice in the sense that as they are living their life to fullest, in their chosen homes, in their comfort homes, that the average Nigerians as well should be able to afford food, should be able to afford housing, should be able to afford clothing, should be able to live life comfortably, as government has made it possible for them, because it is our inalienable right, to enjoy good governance, which they swore, which they promised to uphold and deliver. So what is coming to tell us now tells that the people do not have a listening ear. The people do not even feel the pulse of the citizens. The people, the leaders, are totally against the people, and it appears that the leaders are waging an economic war against the citizens.
Okay. Now, as much as you've said this, I will plead with you to hold on. Well, in case you're just joining us, it's a dialogue on our viewpoint, and today we're looking at a very critical one that seems to be really on the front burner of the country, and we're talking about economic-wise, and indeed Nigerians are kicking against it, just like Comr Emeka Owococha, and it's the issue of the 5% surcharge on the fuel. And you do know the federal government intends to introduce that surcharge on the 1st of January 2026, according to information made available to us. So, but will that charge really go well? Will Nigerians really enjoy it? Or just like what they said, is it really what we need at the moment? And do you feel the government will do so? But remember also, I told you we'll also be joined by an economist all the way from Abuja. He will be joining us, and we'll definitely have his view as it concerns it. But what I want us to do now is for us to go on a quick break. We need to pay our bills so we do not get surcharged. And when we come back, we'll definitely continue our discussion as we also get the views of our guests all the way from Abuja also. Let's go on a break. Well, I need to welcome you back, and we'll still will dialogue on our viewpoint on Atlantic TV. And today we're looking at the 5% surcharge that's being planned to be introduced by no other but this very administration come 1st of January 2026. But it looks as if Nigerians are not waiting for that to happen. Hence, they are already agitating. And no surprise, our guest right here in the studio seems to be having his voice the loudest as it concerns the surcharge. But anyway, like we also did inform you, we'll also be looking at the economic part of this, especially as it concerns the federal government. Hence, now we're being joined by no other person but an economist all the way live right there in Abuja. And we're talking about Mr. K. Adams. That he's an economist. Let's see if we bring him on board and also get his view as it concerns this very surcharge. Good morning to you, Mr. Ben K. Adams. Nice having you on the platform. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
Well, I know how busy you are, a whole lot of meeting, especially as it concerns the economy right there in Abuja, and especially with the bank you're working. But I want your quick view, especially as it concerns this recent tax revenue that is being pushed by this administration. And where I want your view on it is, let's look at the industrial part of it. Now, we do know that when it comes to this kind of law, even if you now bring it on board, the industries will manufacture these goods and at the end send it to the consumers. But in every way, it's the consumers that will feel the direct impact and the hit. But let's look at it holistically. Do you feel that this recent surcharge will also have a negative effect as it concerns industries in Nigeria, or you feel different about it?
All right. Thank you for having me once again. And this is a good topic to consider at this point in time because what we are talking about will be taking effect in 2026. So it's part of the tax reform that has been introduced, and there has been agreement in several quarters on ensuring this happens.
Yes.
Now, whether it's good or it's bad, I think governments or policymakers have gone beyond that point now, because there is a conclusion already on the tax reform policy that is going to be taking effect from January 2026, as earlier stated. So, looking at the effects of this policy, especially the introduction of a 5 naira on every liter of fuel. Now, remember that prior to now, there has been a lot of taxes that have taken or that have always been collected by government. So this tax reform seeks to harmonize all, bring or should I say, a united front to taxation. All right, when it has to do with oil and gas, because prior to now, industries in that sector have always complained about multiple taxes and how this has affected business and so on and so forth. So government have seek to bring it under one umbrella, and that is why the introduction of the Nigeria Revenue Services has come to replace FIRS. Okay, now we are seeing a situation where government is not just taxing crude oil. Prior to now, government go after crude oil, you go sell whatever crude you get, and then bring up to 80% of whatever is the income you generated and bring it to government. These have always been affecting those playing in that sector, players in that sector. But now government is saying it's not just the crude oil. Government is saying we are going to be taxing the finished product, which, like you have mentioned earlier on, we are talking about the petrol that car use, we are talking about the diesel that trucks and generator use. We are also talking about the ATK, all right, that airplane use, aircraft use rather. So as a result of that, it is basically going to be thrown to the end users. Industry will be affected in the sense that they are taxed this money, but they are not going to be carrying the whole. They are going to be throwing it on the end users. All right. So assuming currently now a liter of fuel is 100 naira. Now that 5 naira per liter will be added to whatsoever they are selling to the end user. So what happened at the end of the day is that as they push it to the end users, we are going to be having increase in transportation costs. We're going to be having increase in prices of goods and services that are transported from one place to the other. We are also going to be having high rates of inflation because now goods are going to be getting costlier, and then the amount of money that you need to purchase such goods will now begin to be a problem. So as a result of that, the industry, or should I say the players in this industry, will definitely be throwing it back to the end user. Now, how does this affect them? How it affects them is basically that they are going to be witnessing.
Okay, looks as if we're having network issues. Let's see how we can get him back on board. Mr. Ben K. Adams, can you hear us? Okay, well, he was just really reeling out how that will definitely affect us, or rather affect our industries, and how that can also turn out to be more of a negative trend than that of a positive one. We'll see how we can reconnect back to him, and he gives us a further view on what he feels. But let me quickly come back to you, Comr Emeka Owococha, because, yeah, you've given us a full rundown of what you feel these tax reform bill will be, especially with the 5% surcharge. But I want us to look at it politically, because that's where my next question will lie. And then, no surprise, we had a view from no other person but Mr. or Dr. Moody Yusuf. You know, he's the CEO of Center for Promotion and Private Enterprise, when it said it will be more of a political risk for this government to implement such. So, do you feel it will be more of a political suicide for this administration? The APC, I mean, if they go ahead with so much anger that many Nigerians are already feeling towards this very tax reform bill, especially the 5% surcharge.
Mr. Mike, can you rephrase your question, please?
Okay, let me rephrase my question. Do you feel the APC will be shooting itself in the foot if they go ahead and let Mr. President implement this 5% surcharge? Will it be more of a political risk to them, knowing that many Nigerians are angry and we barely have 17 months to the next general elections?
It would when the populace, when the electorates are sensitive of the harm being done to them by the government of the day.
Okay.
And when the electorates are committed to taking their pound of flesh.
Okay.
APC is a brand. I will tell you in confidence that since APC came on board, Nigerians have not known peace.
Wow.
Yes, and speaking it.
Well, that's a strong statement.
It is not about. See, I am not a party. I am not a party person. I do not belong to a party to political group. As in, I am an ordinary Nigerian, who feel, the good or the bad of government policies.
Okay.
So as it were, APC is the government in place. I'm telling you that they have not brought anything good. So if Nigerians would want to take their pound of flesh, I think in 2027, if the president goes on to implement this punitive tax, I think there's no right thinking Nigerian that will wish the government to continue. A government that is putting pains on you, a government that is annihilating you, a government that is exposing you to all kinds of economic harm, a government that putting Nigerians in harm's way, a government that depriving you to live life abundantly, a government that is not attuned to the provisions of the constitution of this country, which mandates the government and those who are, operating our system to control the economy of this country and to ensure they distribute it to achieve what? Common good. So, in that narrative, I will tell you that Nigerians should be ready. If they are sensitive of their condition, if they are sensitive to make a change in their life, and they are sensitive to bring a leader that will listen to their cry and to their plight, so that we can have good governance. Good governance is possible if only your leaders will be ready to do what they expected to do.
Comr Emeka Owococha, it will not be good if we jump the gun. And what I mean by that is, this is more like a speculation.
Yes.
For the now.
Yes.
And in all honesty, okay, I'll plead with you to hold on. It looks as if we are now finally reconnecting to our economists in Abuja, because I have a whole lot for us to really talk about. Yes, sorry about that, Mr. Ben Kene Adams. The connection is really funny, especially as the weather is. But thank you so much for rejoining us. Can you hear me now?
Thank you. I can hear you.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, you were almost about landing on how it will really affect our industries. And you talked about growing, it will definitely increase inflation, which will in every way have a negative effect, especially as most of these industries will not be able to sell that much and produce that much on the ground that many Nigerians might really shy away from buying from them. But I'll plead with you, I know how the network is, and I will beg you, I will rather ask a separate question. Now, according to our findings, sir, we do know that this very government will rack in nothing less than 792 billion annually on account of if this surcharge is being done. And you do know this is a juicy carrot that they will not in any way shy around away from. But don't you feel that this would be a revenue boost for this administration that is already borrowing a whole lot? And don't you see this as really helping out to deal with some toothing problems that this administration is being faced with?
All right, thank you very much. Like I was saying before, the network actually told me out. It's going to be a revenue boost for the government. There is no doubt about that. The government is going to be earning a lot. However, there is also this part where it is expected that government should be wise enough to invest such revenue into renewable energy transition. Because at the end of the day, if you if you observe the rule or the policy on this new tax, LPG is not taxed, CNG is not taxed. So what government is driving at is we want to encourage the citizen to use more of the LPG and CNG, and that is why the presidential innovation or so, or incentives on CNG has also rolled out numbers of cars, and state government are also following suit on that to see how they can encourage people to use more of LNG and LPG and CNG. So yes, government is going to be earning more, but then there should also be that wisdom where it is properly applied. Now, from what the presidency have also said in the last 1 or 2 weeks, there is that portion where we were made to understand that yes, they have enough money now and they don't even need to borrow. Hopefully in 2026, we will not see that happen. And then there could be a better application of the revenue such that whatsoever affects this new tax reform we bring on the citizen, we will have a situation where government will bring in incentives that will cushion the effect, especially in the side of inflation. All right. So inflation is going to be biting very hard, but then if government will wisely apply the revenue that they get from all of these, we will still be the one that we actually enjoy at the end of the day. But then, does Nigeria believe in their politicians? I think that is the next question.
Question that will rather throw to the politicians and not us answering. But before I let you finally go, I was almost asking our guests in the studio, so I'll quickly want to get your view as it concerns this. And I'm a bit curious, do you see this government finally implementing that very 5% surcharge come 1st of January 2026? Or do you feel the present outcry will definitely change their mind about it? What's your view on this?
Well, if the outcry will be of effects and they change, good enough. But if doesn't and they go ahead, like I said, there have been certain consultations that have taken place over the time. Governors have been involved, some stakeholders have been called, and then the federal government had gone ahead to say, with all of these inputs, we have a conclusion on this, and this is what is going to happen. So, as it stands currently, the federal government has actually concluded on that, and we want to go ahead with that. But like you mentioned, yes, there are certain outcry, especially on the fact that currently we buy petroleum for as much as 900, in some places 1,000 per litre. And that's very crazy. Between 2023, May 2023 till now, we have continued to see the increase in pump price of fuel. It has not gone down. Had it been, it's something that, okay, from 900 or 1,000, it has gone down to like 200 or 300, and you want to add 5 naira on it. I'm very sure that people will not make this much noise. But now, the rest of the noise, or should I say the way we are challenging this now, is because it's beginning to be done on people that are going to be more hardship. So I will really want to say that government can still look at this again and review it, even if it is a 1% or a 2%, considering the current situation of the economy and the hardship that a lot of people are passing through. It will be a better one. But like I said earlier also in my postulation, government intends to get more revenue, one. Two, government intends to also begin to implement the green area, or is it the green environment policy, which is not just a Nigeria thing, it is a global thing. All right. So I believe strongly that there still be some adjustment that can be done. If that is done, then it's going to be good for all of us.
Person, economist Ben K. Adams, for joining us all the way from Abuja. I know how busy you are with the meetings that is also being scheduled on account of all of this, but thank you so much for giving us your perspective as it concerns this. And well, like you said, it's a carrot that is a bit too juicy, and you doubt if the government would, well, take a seat back without really implementing it. But wherever we go, we'll definitely go back to you or come back to you to get your views on it on that final day. But thank you so much for joining us. We truly appreciate your time with us. Thank you so much. Comr Emeka and Owococha, I need to come back to you. Now, it's just a thing that the government feels will definitely come. But if you look at the law, and especially as that law that concerns this very bill, if you look at section 616, it gives the economic minister, the finance minister, the right to bring out a gazette before this will be implemented. It will not just go ahead and be implemented, even if we are hearing speculation that it will come on the 1st of January 2026. He has to bring out a gazette according to sections 161 of that very Tax Reform Act. Now, just like I asked him, I will still come back to you, because your civil society organization and others are already crying. And we've even heard in the news that there's a planned mobilization of people to kick against this. But well, even in eventuality, or it finally comes to be that, yeah, many Nigerians still cry about it. But do you see this administration going ahead and implementing it at the end of the day? That's just a question, because it will also determine whether the cries are being heard, or whether really the amount, that 792 billion that they'll be getting annually, that they feel that the country needs to redeem, in every way reduce borrowing will be. So where do we stand? Do you see them finally implementing it, or you see them jettisoning the idea itself?
My friend, I will tell you the government, over time had and is showing adamancy, about Nigerian complaints and plights, over some policies that are not actually, that are hurting them.
Yeah.
The adamancy in the sense that the government, we have seen, especially this particular one, does not have the listening ear, right? You saw what happened when he removed the petroleum subsidy.
Yeah.
You see, the outcry by the poor Nigerian. You see us speaking to him like a father, that no, this is too much. There's a way you could do this. Gradually, even if you want to implement it.
I'm happy you said even if you want to implement, because we know other two major political presidential candidates also thought of removing it when they assumed office. The PDP and Labour Party also said
even if we give it to you, that okay, go on ahead and remove it, because ordinarily, if you want to really critique it, you ought not to remove it, because if you are citing corruption in this system, why not kill the corruption? There is no way in this world where one commodity or the other is not subsidized, for God's sake, Mr. Mike. And you know the role petrol plays in the economy. I have told you here that if you anything that touches petrol has touched the smallest man in Okitipupa. And if you are sensitive and you are empathetic, because it is the people you come to govern, you come to give them life, not to kill them, Mr. Mike. So that's what I'm saying. But if you are not empathetic, and you know your goals about governance is different from what good governance is all about, that is when you will be committed to doing whatever you think you want to do, because you know what you want to get out of it. Now, the government will go ahead. They will go ahead, Mr. Mike, let me tell you, go and mark my word. They are not going to listen to the outcry. Because I have told you, they have shown proofs of adamancy towards the plight and complaints of Nigerians. And when they go ahead, that's why I say, if Nigerians can be sensitive of their future, if we want to protect our future, because governance is for the people, sovereignty belongs to the people, for whom the government, him, the president, derives all his powers and authorities. We give it to him. Do you understand? And there's a social contract, Mr. Mike, if you don't know. The social contract is that we have surrendered all our powers to the sovereignty. And it is left for the government to do to protect us and give us good standard of living and good governance, social equity. Now, Mr. Mike, if he goes ahead, I tell you, he will go ahead. But it is left for Nigerians now, to now go back to the drawing boards and think, do we really want a government that is putting pace on us to continue? Because this is an outright decision, which is deliberate. It's a deliberate and decisive decision by the government to torture and to pepper Nigerians. I told you that the increment of fuel from 197 to 950, which is about 382%, it defies every economic reasoning. Didn't I tell you? A government that is sensitive and empathetic would increase the commodity, perhaps 30%, 30%.
But this is 5%.
I'm talking about the fuel that you have increased, the fuel has killed millions of Nigerians. You are even coming to put petrol still on the fire to still food as if the president is saying, oh, you guys have not seen anything yet. You are complaining that the removal of efficiency is killing you. I'm coming to add more to it. It's more or less like this is certainly what is coming to tell Nigerians. That's what the body language is all about. If you have the mystery here, which you see policies now that will be tailored toward ameliorating the suffering and the pain that the people are going. Nigerians are groaning in poverty, in hardship, in hunger, in penury.
Okay, Comr Emeka Owococha, I will plead with you. We're really out of time. If we give give you the audience, you will really rant about this all day. But I'll need to thank you because of time. We might really bring you up to see if we can really discuss still, especially as it concerns the economy. And I'm giving a special thank you to Comr Emeka Owococha. He's of the Civil Society for Good Governance and Democracy in Nigeria. A civil society organization that is among those leading ones that are already criticizing this move of the federal government. Thank you so much, Emeka Owococha, for taking your time
thank you very much
and giving us your talk, especially as you speak passionately about this. But anyway, the discussion has not ended. I'll plead with you, go to our different social media platforms. Let's have your views as it concerns this 5% surcharge, especially as it concerns petroleum products. We're talking of just petrol, fuel, and also diesel. Remember, it's not with CNG, LPG, or others, but it's basically around these two major that Nigerians feel is giving them every need to complain, knowing that it's something that they use always and will be use of it.